All right, so we're gonna try round two. Let's see how this goes. I apparently had two inputs in my audio capture, so sound like I was in the bathtub or like a very poor acoustics environment. So I want to introduce you all to Substratum, and this is probably going to be a more brief webinar or kind of stream short here. I've been working on Substratum for, I don't know, the last few months, my weekends and some late nights. The idea of Substratum is it builds off of a roadmap that I'd come up with years ago, and I have some leaflet publications on it. Um, and I had a consulting firm named Trayforce Group LLC for a while. That I just don't see clients at this point, but I do keep it around for any work I might do. But the idea is 6 years ago. If you look at this README, September 21st, 2020, I had this vision for a distributed internet that you pay your electricity bill, you pay your internet bill, and you have a bitchin' computer. Well, it should it should be able to run the internet. We shouldn't need Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and all these other providers to be the single point of failure when my computer can do it. So this is going to be more of a peer-to-peer or blockchain-like networking that allows us to run what I've called the Substratum network, which is our storage layer. It'll use both Web 2.0 technologies, and I'll get into that more. Web 3.0 technologies, which is like interplanetary file system. So I'll introduce folks to that. IPFS. Let's see. Whoop, I have IPFS companion. Interplanetary file system. Just to show the world this. So interplanetary file system is this awesome technology that allows you to have planetary scale for the modern web, the Web 3.0, the next version of it. The idea is essentially it's an open source and distributed technology with participation, which prevents data silos and other kind of challenges that central data servers like Amazon, Google, and Microsoft provide have. It's verifiable and secure, so that way you can trust what you're getting. And because it's distributed, it's resilient. So I wanted to leverage this files and data that can be distributed. One of the pitfalls of interplanetary file system, though, is it's public. It's completely public. And they tell people if you want to store private data, just encrypt it and upload it. And I'm like, that's crazy. That's bonkers because that means in 2 years' time, 5 years' time, your data can be decrypted and whatever personal information you had is available. I was taught in database security and computer security in general, the safest computer is a computer buried in cement with no power cable, no Ethernet jack. Not realistic. So the next best thing is a computer without internet connection, so on and so forth. As you add accessibility, security has to be readjusted. If there's accessibility remotely, well, security does go down, and that's where we come up with passwords and logins and all these great things that allow us to have a layer between you and the device or the information at this point. So interplanetary file system flips on its head this idea of computer to computer talking to each other, but more of this content addressed, content information network that you say, give me this video, give me this file, and you know the name of it in their kind of like ID, content ID, or they call CID, and it streams it to you. Blue Sky is built on top of this technology. So I've jumped on the Blue Sky train. I don't use Twitter, I don't use Instagram or any of that, and I've actually worked on a migrating tool that this gentleman Marco had created that I've helped add video and such to its import. So I've actually migrated completely off Instagram and used Blue Sky. So I've posted a couple times here about these technologies, and the latest one is substratum.cloud comes to life. So I just was giving folks a update, and that's what this video is about, or this stream's about, is that in the most recent like week or so, I've been able to create a Mac OS version of Substratum. So the idea is I have an installer, and I'll show that briefly in a moment. And I have a web app that allows you to upload and share your files and store them. So let's start with why Substratum? What is Substratum? So this is the docs website. It'll take you to the code repository if you're a techie like me, and this is where I'm storing it. And I'm using tangled.sh or .org. They're using AT Proto or Authenticated Protocol, which Blue Sky had created. It's a social media protocol or platform that makes it so no one company can own it. You own your data, and that is the premise of Substratum at its core. Is companies like Google, like Dropbox, like Microsoft, even Instagram, social medias, they own your data. They market with it, and it's not yours. And I want you to pay your internet, pay your electricity bill, have your own bitchin' computer, and therefore you run and host your own data, and you can share it with other people, and they can run and host your data or their data, and it's a participatory. We participate in the network. Is what I'm trying to say, essentially. Um, so the idea is Substratum helps families keep photos, videos, and important files in several places at once, not on only one laptop, one box in the basement. So you get to choose where the copies live. This is our North Star. Whether it's your house, your parents' house, a sibling's house, distribute between your phone. I've got a gaming PC with 2 terabytes on it. I've got this MacBook with 1 terabyte, and I've got a phone with 500 gigabytes. And the idea is, in theory, I should be able to have duplicate files across those, but I have 3.5 terabytes at my disposal. But right now, they're kind of siloed. They're not connected in any way, and I can't really see how they're distributing their data. That's the idea that Substratum is trying to solve is share your data across all the devices you own, so if one dies, you can fetch it from somewhere else. Now the reality is you might not copy all data to all devices. That would be a lot of duplicate data, but that's how the cloud providers do it, so that way they don't lose your data. Problem with cloud providers is it's still one mainframe or large data center that has that is subject to conflict. For example, in Iran, like Google's seeing their data centers being targeted. That's the reality we're in. I think it's Google and Amazon. So DARPA invented the internet to handle a nuke, but modern infrastructure can barely handle a flicker without the whole thing going down. So that's why I want to focus on how do I put data back in the hands of the owner, in the creator. Um, I want us to think about this as you have a box of Polaroids or old school prints of photos, like when you were a kid, or at least maybe I'm dating myself a bit. So you might have 3 copies that are printed at a CVS or a Walgreens, and your mom gave you the family photo from your childhood, and your siblings have it, you have it, she has it. Well, let's say there's a flood in her basement, and those copies in her basement are gone. Well, you have a copy at your house. You can scan it, reprint it, have it redone. If you have the actual roll of spool of the photo, you can have it reprinted at a CVS still, a Walgreens. I mean, it's a little bespoke, or Kodak. But that's the idea of this. Substratum holds that film that allows you to have a record of all the files, that at least it has a record of it. Yes, it did exist, and here's where to go find it. So that's the idea is let's share our resources together and have resiliency that I had a Nextcloud server, which is like a Google Drive alternative, self-hosting technology that we put all of our data on, and then one day it died. Well, I still have the data, but now my server's toast. I have to buy a new server, set it all up. The idea that I want is a very simple file system storage that my mom can have a server at her house, my brother and sisters can have storage at their house that I give them, and we can all share it. And if an issue happens, whether the box burns out, a flood happens, cat knocks it off a desk and breaks it, like Halo or Lily, yeah, you sleepy cats. Oh, stretches. Um, your stuff is safe. Your family can help you reseed the memories that you've lost. But they don't have to get access to it unless you've shared it. So you get to pick where the data lives and distribute it. So it adds an extra safety net. You can share files over the internet with accounts. So this is all based off of Blue Sky's AT Proto. You can use your Blue Sky login. If you use Tangled.sh, if you're a nerd or techie like me, you can use that login. They're all built off of what's called a PDS, a personal data server, which you can host yourself, or you can use ones that exist. The idea is the personal data server is where your data ownership is. And if, let's say, Blue Sky or even Substratum's ideals no longer align with what your values are, you can just migrate it. You're not locked in. If I kick you out or someone, the vendor blocks you, like today, Google Drive, let's say you break their terms of service somehow unintentionally, they can lock you out of your Google account. You just lost all of your memories. The idea of this is you own everything, and you know where they all are. So this is kind of walking you through a day in the life of why Substratum, and is it like Dropbox or iCloud, and it's built to be better. It's not just all your eggs in one basket. You get to put your copies in homes you trust, and the idea is at some point, Substratum will be a service provider just like iCloud, just like Dropbox, and it'll have some of those challenges that if a data center is targeted, there could be copies lost. And so the idea is we'll host in North America, South America, and even Asia to be able to have resiliency no matter what conflict arises. And your data can be secure and trusted using a technology that guarantees the security and privacy of your information. So without further ado, I'm going to show an installer that I have. See if it's not open. Okay. Um, it supports many languages, so that's the beauty of AI. I can vet some of them. I do have a partner who speaks Spanish, and so I'm targeting Spain Spanish, Portuguese, Brazilian Portuguese, French. I'm trying to remember German, as well as I forget the Filipino language. My little brothers and my stepmom are Filipino, so I want to be able to cover my bases with the largest audience I can provide for this. So without further ado, I'll go back here. So right now we're only offering a home server, self-hosted. The idea is for most people, common users, they're going to want to have the cloud provider, but the idea that mom can save her files and make sure they're safe at your house, so on and so forth. They give a transparent and user-friendly way to access that. So there's some advanced settings. If you don't want to use your Blue Sky account, if you want to use the Substratum login, you can do that. That's something that I'm working to host soon once I kind of get this running on all my personal devices and create a private triangle is what I'm calling it. So I'm going to be using a VPN like Tailscale, which I'll show right here. I have my Motorola Razr here. I've got my MacBook Pro on here, and that's how I can securely link them. It'll be more advanced over time, but this is kind of the MVP, if you will, the beginning stages. So let's go into the device discovery phase of this installer. So I can auto triangulate my MacBook, my gaming PC, and my phone. It'll say allow, and now you'll see that those IPs match what's in my virtual private network, VPN. I'm going to generate an identity, and so what a cryptographic identity is this is how a private interplanetary file system network knows how to contact each other and prove who they are. So this never leaves your hardware. This is essentially a fingerprint that says I am who I say I am, and therefore others should not be able to talk to my network. So I'm going to generate those, and you'll see that it comes with hashes. I've already installed this app, so this is just going to rotate my identities, which is good. You want that. If you ever have something compromised in your network, you'll want to rotate these. So I'll also say, where do I want to store my data on the computer? And it's going to store that configuration for me. I can store it on my personal home, so my Stefan Triforce account, or for all users. I'm going to do it for just my account. I've got about 100 gigabytes left on this computer because I code a lot and I fill it up with garbage. So I'm going to set the maximum gigabyte storage. You can do terabytes, megabytes, etc. And then I'll tell the app to warn me when it gets 80 gigabytes. There's a checklist if you're ever interested in seeing kind of the underlying technologies and where they're hosted. So for the techies, these are the ports that are non-standard that make it not collide. We'll be spinning up a database called Postgres, and as well as hosting the gateway API, a proxy that secures it with encryption, and then your file explorer user interface, and then installs the desktop app. And so there'll be some background agents and some recommendations on how to achieve encryption at rest to protect your data from any snooping people. So I'm going to install it. This should be pretty quick because at this point I'm just updating the existing installation. I can download certain configurations if I want to pass that around and inspect them. So this is a very early state installer. This is just me showing what I have. So you'll see here, this is the login screen, got a cool logo, and I've got the installer and then the actual app running here. So I'm going to type in my Blue Sky account. So let's do that. Okay, it's not social, right? Social. Oh. I did this last time. Dyslexia. Flip the S and the K. So I've already logged in with this account before, so it's not asking me for my password because I said always remember me. So I'm just authorizing that I can use it. So we're going here. You'll see work documents and personal drive. You'll see I've already uploaded content here, and I have some screenshots here. I was working on a website where I took some screen recordings. You'll see I have my grid view, and I can change different sizes to from big, small, and smallest. You have a lot of content, very similar to File Explorer or Finder in your Mac. You can have a list view as well as what's called Miller columns. I didn't even know what this is called until recently, until I was building this app. But this is what you'll see in the Finder application, where it has kind of your tree structure showing here. So I'll go into, say, another folder, and I'll be able to see different additional folders here. So I can kind of show off some of these other files that I was working on with some like test apps here. And I can traverse all the way back. So let's say that I want to upload more documents, and I really like the Miller view. Let me pull up some photos that my grandfather had painted. So let me find that directory. Can't remember where I put it. It's good for stream demo to be fumbling here and finding your stuff, but bear with me here. Going to, I guess I can just go to the test app stuff. Let me just, so I'll upload a folder. It's going to take me here. Let me see. Go to my Substratum app. And I have some like pre-built fixtures here. So, and what I mean by that is just essentially like folders that I continuously test with. So let's go to my end-to-end tests here. I'm going to upload a directory I have called upload sample. So this just has some paintings my grandfather paints. And you'll see that I can open up the content here. And I can upload a single file as well. Let's say I upload the logo. Oh, that's weird. I don't know why. Well, definitely early. We'll have to iron out some wrinkles here, but and I can actually add a new folder as well. And clearly I'll have to work on some of these little bugs that I have to work out because it works in the browser, but I think because technically this is a macOS app, it doesn't work fully in that way. Um, this is where you'd go to find your shared with me files. I haven't been shared with any files yet, and I'll show that in another kind of walkthrough or webinar. And then we can go to account details. Right now it's a home server, and this is will be you'll be able to see your plan or kind of what data is hosted where, what peers you share with, as well as you can go to report an issue with the app here by clicking that help, and even create new drives. So I'll be working on some of those kind of new folders, new drive challenges that I think exist there. But this is just kind of a recap with the application without my audio issue. This is kind of the beginning of Substratum and where I want to take it. So if you want to check out the docs, the technical details, or kind of the high level, why am I building this, and what is it for? That's what this Substratum docs that are hosted at my code base is for. So you can take a deep dive. But this was kind of my first walkthrough in what I'm trying to build and what this should be able to give us, and free us from the shackles of the centralized web. And if you pay your internet, you pay your electricity, and you have a bitchin' computer, you should be able to run the internet. Well, that's all.